Okay, welcome back. Solo role manging Shadowdark in our Hexcrawl, which we haven't really hexed a whole lot. We've been kind of pretty busy with one dungeon, but that can happen in a Hexcrawl, especially if a DM plonks down like a mega dungeon. It's just like, okay, well, I guess we're doing Barrow Maze now for the next 100 sessions. But that's fine. The freedom of the Hexcrawl is the freedom of the Hexcrawl. You can do whatever you want. So we've been doing this extensive module, the Pits of Bruned. Started with Tomb of the Hunters, and I honestly thought Tomb of the Hunters was just like, okay, it's a 5-room dungeon or something real simple. But then it kept leading to one thing and then the other, and all told, it's a pretty extensive module. But we're gonna back out of that, and we went back to town, so we can we should roll some random encounters and stuff, I suppose. Really, just one random encounter. We're right next to town, so we'll just roll one thing here. Alright, we're fine. We make it back to town, and Torsen can relax a bit. Technically, he should get XP, but level 0s don't have an XP threshold here, unlike, say, first edition AD&D, where they would need to get 500 XP. So, I mean, we could set it at like 5 XP, and they get only half. And I don't count decimals. So, if we get 2 XP, he gets 1. If we get 1 XP, he gets nothing. I mean, you could do something like that, I suppose. And then he just needs to get 5. But then at that point, you might as well just say, well, it's not quite the same as he needs 10 XP, because 1 XP sources just give him nothing. It's a little strange and harsh and stuff, but so is the fact that he gets half XP. And really, this guy probably shouldn't get anything, because he doesn't do anything. He just carries our shit. So, it's not like he really needs to level up. But, it depends. If the players don't really ever care about the NPC and just drag him along and whatever, he carries the shit, then I don't know. I don't care to give him XP. But if they are like kind of endeared to him in some way, if he develops a personality, then why not? So right, we are selling off our Jade Spheres. So that's going to be 36 gold for each. So 72 more gold. Bumps us up to 92. Delete. So we got a good amount of money. We have 483 in storage. We've got 92 more. Yep. 99 more, really. Plus 7. So, under, we're close to, yeah, we're pretty close to 600 gold. Quite a bit. So, the problem is, Bailey Thorpe isn't really going to have much that we would be interested in. Like, we're not going to get anything mastercrafted here, and we're kind of mostly good on basic supplies. Actually, let me transfer the lantern back to you. And we need to get some more oil flasks, so we'll buy those now. We could grab bandages from that other supplement, which would give us advantage on stabilized checks. That's kind of nice. Or if we wanted to spend some time crafting. What am I looking for? Oil flask, yeah. Grab a couple more of those. And that's, so a gold, yeah. I think we were maybe interested in ranged weapons for a couple characters. Norbert, I think, wanted a short bow. and some arrows. So we're gonna grab that. Arrows, which are a gold, and a short bow, which is 6. That's another 7 gold. Okay. And then Clara definitely wanted a crossbow, even though her dex is abysmal. She could instead carry javelins, but she really doesn't have... She can't carry shit. She's such a terrible fucking character. We should boot her out of the party and find a better level 1 priest. Just garbage. And, like, levels aren't going to fix it. What am I going to put levels into? If I get a bonus, I want to put it into, like, wisdom. So she's better at cure wounds. But it just means she's just a heal bot. That's her whole purpose. I feel bad for her existence. 6 dexterity, 9 strength, just good at nothing. I mean, honestly, I probably should strip her down to leather armor, take off the shield, ditch the helmet, and just carry javelins so she could throw that. But I don't know. It's an extra -1. So maybe we would just stick with the crossbow. She's never going to be a frontliner. I mean, she's got decent health and stuff, but she's never going to be a frontliner. She's... I don't know. Just seeing this is just so sad. It's just so fucking sad compared to fucking Grim +5, 1d6 +3 is like, oh, so good. And his stats aren't insane. Imagine if he had 18 strength. Yeah, it probably would be pretty obscene. I mean, I agree. But it's possible. It's very possible. Look at Torsen. Imagine if we swapped out Torsen for Clara. Be just juicy. Yeah, he would be worse. Like, if he was a priest, he'd be worse at curing wounds, but still. But can't pick your party members, I guess. So I'm just not sure what to do with her. She's not really good at anything. That is a rough compatriot. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I'd have to ditch the scale armor, at least, if I wanted to give her a crossbow. Or I could ditch her torch and flint and steel, and we could just give that to someone else. Somebody, just in case. I guess Denton, probably. Fine. And you will get a crossbow and bolts. And bolts are 1, yada yada. Crossbow is 8, so that's 9 gold. Okay. Jesus. Just pathetic. And it's two-handed, so she can't even have a shield, but I guess it's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Denton could also use a crossbow, but I guess he doesn't need to. It's a pretty pathetic party, all things considered. Even Grim, our main man, is really only good because of his equipment. That's about it. Which I guess is, maybe how it often goes. It's largely based on your magic items and stuff. Which, yeah, I mean, that's why they say 3d6 down the line, but again, I don't feel like excited about discovering these characters and their unique trait. I just feel every time I look at these stat screens, just like, ugh. Ugh. Anyways, is there anything else we'd maybe want to buy? Anything I could think of that would be useful? Let me look at Player's Companion real quick. Acid, air bladder, alcohol, heavy apron, aspergillum. Yeah, bandages, I mean, wouldn't be bad to have, just in case. And a lot of things would just be kind of nice to have, like block and tackle could be useful. Boxes could be useful. Chain could be useful. A tarp could be useful. Handsaw. It's a lot of shit. I mean, it's a pretty extensive list here. Sledgehammer could be useful. Tongs could be useful for sure. A lot of things. But I don't know. We're probably fine. We'll just spend the night at home in our beds. In town. There might be a zombie attack. Let's roll, because it could be interesting. So we'll do an oracle. We'll say it's unlikely. So is there an undead attack tonight? No. Okay. So we're good tonight. Alright, and then a bright new day. Oh, Torsen is entitled to a half share of treasure, I suppose. And we sold... So we got 72 gold. So I need to do 72 divided by 4.5. 16. That can't be correct. Well. No, I don't think I did that right. Fuck, I'm terrible at math. Okay, so if I do it by the four of us, we each get 19, but he gets half share. So how does that work? He gets 8? Nine? 8? Maybe 16? There's a way to figure this out. Fuck, I mean, there should be a very basic math thing that I shouldn't have any issue with. But I'm pretty sure... Could have sworn there was just like a little guide somewhere here to detail how to do a half share, but I feel like it's a basic. I'm gonna fucking ask ChatGPT. That's what we're brought to. I'm asking ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT is crunching the numbers. It's analyzing. I can just like hear its brain cooking from over here with this insane math problem. Here we go. Oh, it's showing all its work. Oh, okay. Each full share character gets 16 gold, and then he gets 8. That's exactly what I did at first, and I just didn't believe it, or I didn't trust myself. It was pretty simple. It didn't have to show much work. I'm an idiot. All right, so he gets 8 gold. He gets 8 gold. So we will deduct another 8 here, bring us down to 67. And Torsen, my friend, you've earned yourself 8 whole gold for doing essentially nothing. It's pretty good. And he's got leather armor out of it, a spear, and he's feeling good. It's not too shabby. I mean, 8 gold, that's enough for him probably for like a month. But it is technically pretty dangerous work. I'm sure his wife is quite worried about him and his kids. So, hopefully nothing bad happens to him. All right, we need to move on. And so to move on, I said that I wanted to run like a really classic module from decades ago, the OG sort of time period. Late 70s, early 80s sort of stuff, first edition. I want to experience it. And so I looked at a handful, and I really wanted to go with one of the more well-known ones, popular ones, and also one that kind of could work in this region relatively. So there was one I was looking at that was just in a desert, and I was like, yeah, it's probably not going to make a whole lot of sense. So we're going to try out, actually, the one that was in the desert was the Lost City, which I do want to get to at some point. But today, we're going to be looking at the sinister secret of Salt Marsh from the United Kingdom. That's right. Even foreign people play RPGs. Anyways, yes. So, this is from 1981 by Dave J. Brown with Don Turnbull for levels 1 to 3. 5 to 10 characters of levels 1 to 3. Now we have 4 characters of level 2, but remember Shadowdark, quite a bit more powerful of characters with like our sleep spell and stuff like that than actual BX characters. So I don't really know much about this, but obviously you can tell it involves something on a ship, pirates or something like that. I don't know. We're going to find out. It's going to be fun. Desolate and abandoned, the evil alchemist mansion stands alone on the hill, looking out towards the sea. Mysterious lights and ghostly hauntings have kept away the people of Saltmarsh, despite rumors of a fabulous forgotten treasure. What is its sinister secret? We will find out. So, we pretty much just want to skip over anything for DMs. We don't want to know the secret before it's revealed. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Suggested the Dungeon Master should introduce players to adventure in the following way. Have the party meet at Saltmarsh as a result of vague rumors that there is worthy work for adventurers in the neighborhood. Describe the town. Provide the players with maps and other information you prepared, such as they could reasonably be expected to observe for themselves on arriving. Have them lodge at an inn, but not let them hear of the haunted house yet. Let them stay in town, vainly pursuing information and spending their money for a day or two before you arrange for them to hear of the legend of the house, perhaps in casual conversation with the landlord of the inn, with whom they should by then have struck up an affable relationship. Tell them the legend and perhaps let the poacher talk to them if you feel this to be appropriate. Once they have decided to visit the house, have the innkeeper introduce them to a prominent member of the town council so that this august body will be aware of the imminent attempt to stamp out the local menace. The council will not in any way sponsor the quest at this stage, though there will be hints of reward if the party accomplishes the task. Have the party equip themselves by dealing with local traders, and let them set out along the old coast road. For part of the way, they will be accompanied by encouraging and admiring townsfolk and hero-worshipping children, though the followers will retire to the town as the house looms in view. Okay, well, so we're changing Saltmarsh to Baileythorpe, because we're not going to travel anywhere. And so this will just be a haunted house nearby up on a hill by the ocean, because we are right on the ocean. So the legend of the haunted house. Until 20 years ago, it had been the residence of an aged alchemist/magician of sinister reputation, and even then had been shunned by reason of its owner's mysterious occupations. Now, two decades after the sudden and unexplained disappearance of its occupant, the house has acquired an even greater air of evil and mystery with the past. Okay. Why is there a voice talking to me? That fucks me all up. The house has acquired an even greater air of evil and mystery with the passing years. Dilapidated and now long abandoned, the house presents an unwholesome appearance to the eye. Those hardy souls who have on infrequent occasion sought entry to it, for rumors of a secret hoard of alchemical gold have persisted since the old man's disappearance, have all returned with naught save grim tales of decay presided over by monstrous perils. In more recent years, there have been reports of fearsome hauntings, ghastly shrieks, and eerie lights emanating from within the dismal place. Now, not even the bravest dare so much as to approach the house, leave alone enter it. Leave alone. Indeed, such is the reputation of the house that the fields around it, though prime agricultural land, remain untended and rank with weeds. Should the adventurers, after learning about the house, seek anyone in the town who has been in the place, they will initially find no one. Persistent questioning of the town's inhabitants will tend to make them frightened and apprehensive, but will not yield any concrete information. If the party pursues their questioning, characters may, DM's discretion, find an aged poacher who will, after suitable inducement, money and or ale, confess to having wandered into the back door of the house a couple of years before, hoping to acquire some food. Diverted by the prospect of free wine in the cellar, he started to descend the stairs, heard ghastly shrieks and piercing wails, and ran, frightened out of his wits. He knows where the back door is, and will have noticed the well. He will be able to describe roughly the kitchen and scullery and the passage that leads to them from the back door, but he knows nothing else of the layout of the place. Furthermore, his memory of what frightened him has become elaborated over the years, so he's as likely as not to tell the party of a horde of ghosts coming up the stairs to the scullery, or a vampire with many rats. He discovered soon after his escapade that the telling of his tale, in lurid and exaggerated detail, was a simple means of obtaining free ale, piled upon him by eager listeners, for there have been none recently who have asked him to tell, and once his tongue is loosened, he will be eager to restore some lost prestige. Apart from alerting adventurers to sinister and grave dangers, which don't in fact exist, spoiler, and telling them a little about the layout of the house, he will provide no useful information. Okay. But obviously the talk of the town is the old house on the hill, belonged to an alchemist, and it's very much haunted, and it's just riddled with ghosts and shit. Let's say, okay, well obviously we would assume that to be true. We know that there's dark and dangerous things in the scary corners of the world. So how would we plan to go about ghost busting? I don't think ghosts in Shadowdark are immune to, like, much. Let me check out Ghost here in the book. No, I am incorrect. Ghosts specifically are listed as greater undead, probably along with, like, vampires. No, vampires are supreme undead. Vampires spawn are greater undead. Only damaged by silver or magical sources. Okay. So, assuming we wanted to prepare for that, what would it cost to get, like, silver daggers or something? Just, like, something basic that we could carry. Doesn't really list. Yeah, it doesn't list values for that. It's probably not gonna... Oh, whoops. No, okay. So what does it cost in, like, normal BX D&D or something? Silver weapon costs. there aren't rules for it? That seems kind of shocking. Apparently, the Dolmenwood rule for OSC is 10 times the cost. And apparently, plenty of people agree with that. Because I guess in the OSE list, there is a silver dagger listed as 30 silver, or 30 gold, and a normal dagger costs 3 gold, so people are just figuring 10 times the cost. Shockingly, you'd think that there'd be more information about that, but, no? Axe have rules for it? Come on, Axe. You gotta do it. You gotta have something. Unless they don't care about silver stuff in Axe, but that doesn't sound right. Are we getting distracted again and just... I think we're getting distracted again. Getting off topic too hard. Way too hard. Mentions here for Masterwork Weapon that it doesn't make it able to hit magical monsters unless forged material otherwise capable of doing so, such as silver. But that's... I mean, we could be looking through this book all day. Some daggers have blades coated with silver for use against enchanted creatures. That's what it says in the description for dagger. That doesn't really help me. Is that the stand? I mean, how much does that cost? What if I donate the silver for my own stuff and they just melt it down and coat it? Is that enough? Oh, no, right here. Silver dagger. Never mind. I think the whole thing is like constructed of silver then. You can't just coat a weapon. Really? I mean, it's like, it's a silver. Okay, we'll go with the 10-time cost. So that's 30 gold each if we want to get silver daggers on everybody. Grim doesn't need it. He's got a magical weapon. So he's good. But everyone else is a little tricky. Do I want to spend 30 gold? Yeah, fuck it. I mean, what is gold for, right? I'll spend 30 gold and we'll get Norbert a silver dagger. This will be a silver dagger. Done. Alright. We'll stick with that. 2 of us can handle a ghost if it comes out. And if there's more than 1 ghost, we'll run out of there and get more. And get a whole army. Alright, well, so, you know, it's not much of a hook, exactly, of why we would want to go to this place. We meet at Salt Marsh as a result of vague rumors that there's worthy work of adventurers in the neighborhood. And then we casually hear the legend of the house, that it was used to be owned by some sinister alchemist, apparently, / magician. And there's rumors of a secret hoard of alchemical gold. It's like, alright, well, we're definitely going to go check this out. We gotta check it out. So we'll march over there. I don't know how far it's supposed to be. I imagine not that far. 4 miles. Okay, that is a hex, so we will roll a random encounter check here. 1, alright. Random encounter. How do we want to roll this? I guess we're still using the sandbox generator. I think we're heading to this coastal hex here. So it's a coastal. Does Shadowdark have coastals? River and coast. Here we go. I'm going to roll D100 for Shadowdark. Random encounter. A troll lurking in a damp cave along the water's edge. A fucking troll. Okay. Okay. Troll. Green lanky giant, level 5 with regeneration. Well, let's roll reaction table, because they're very territorial, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's combat. This thing's obviously near the water, so it's going to be right near the house. Maybe it'll be, I don't know, it could be snoozing just in our path or something, you know, we gotta, like, right near the front of the house. I don't know. Let's just roll 2d6. 10, okay, then it's curious. Let's roll its activity also, 2d6. 4, it's hunting. Okay, it's hunting for food, but its attitude towards us is curious. So then you could roll encounter distance. And again, the, what's the, You don't have, no, this has to exist. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Right, wilderness is always 4d6 times 10 yards for OSE, or 1d4 times 10 yard if either side is surprised. Okay, I mean, we could roll for surprise as well, because to determine who sees who first, or if we see both first, it kind of handles everything. So for us, we are not surprised, and it is. So we see it first, and we roll 1d4 times 10 yards. Ooh, it's 10 yards away when we notice it. So we're pretty close to the house, and then suddenly a troll just sort of meanders out from around the corner, and we see it first. So we have the technically the jump on. What do we do? I feel like we'd probably shoot first, ask questions later, right? And we don't know what a troll is big and nasty and stuff like that, but we'll just assume that we got the drop on it, right? See, that surprise is a big factor. We see it first. So I guess we're going to launch a surprise attack on it. We get a free round on his asshole. So, oh yeah, we get our spells back and everything. Yeah, we're good. It's not going to fall asleep, so Denton charges in with his longsword, I suppose. And he misses. Clara's going to shoot her crossbow. Misses. Grim then shows them how to do it properly with his black silver. Oh, we should have advantage. Okay, we're rerolling all of these a second time because we have advantage. There you go. Now you're cooking. He's only got 12 AC and 24 health. So we do 7 damage. Now you're talking. I'm just going to reroll a d20 so we don't waste a shot. 16, that's a hit. For 6 more damage. Oh, now you're talking. 13. He's down to 11 already. Now the black silver a second time. That's a hit for 8 more damage. He's at 3 health already. See, surprise is insane, man. I'm telling you. A whole round to do whatever we want with advantage? It's ridiculous. And Norbert will finish it off with the... I mean, silver doesn't really make much of a difference. So short sword. Backstab, advantage. 15. 9 damage. Yeah, we beat the shit out of it. But it's not dead yet, is it? It's not dead just yet. So now initiative rolls. We roll a 13, it rolls a 5, so we go first. And I guess I would say as a DM that you can see, like, the wounds starting to, like, stitch themselves back together and close. Because even if, I mean, this would really be, like, if you're playing with people that just have never played D&D or anything ever, and don't know that trolls regenerate, so they wouldn't really know that it's cauterized with fire or acid. Would my characters know? Let's roll Oracle. I think likely. You live in this world, there's trolls around, it's probably relatively common knowledge, right? Maybe not. Maybe it's not common knowledge, I don't know. But we're adventurers. Denton knows a lot of things. We rolled an 11, so yes, we do barely know. We have heard. So, fire or acid? Unfortunately, that's pretty tricky. Because that pretty much means Denton is going to have to light a torch and then stab it into this thing. But I think we can group activity this. Because I think it's it's a dex check to light a torch. I don't know where it says that in this book, but I'm almost certain that's the case. I don't know where it says that, but I remember reading that. So, I think it's just like a DC 12 or something. Not, you know, it only matters if there's a time pressure or something like that. Which there is. We're going by rounds here. There is. So, I thought I ruled that... I don't know if this is how it's intended, or I just ruled it because I felt it was appropriate. But I ruled that thieves have advantage on that. Any such delicate tasks. I don't know. I gave them advantage on lighting torches under pressure. But maybe it's not really delicate. I don't know. I don't know. I'll stand by it. So Norbert's gonna take the torch and flint and steel from Denton. And he'll roll dex with advantage. He got it, so he lights the torch quickly. And then Grim takes it, and he's gonna slam it into the troll's body. Which, he does not have weapon mastery or anything, so I think this is just +1. Norbert probably is better, but he just used his action, so... I think this thing is helpless. Yeah, so we're gonna give advantage on this roll. But we still only got a 9. So then Clara will take it into her hands and do the same thing. Crit. There you go. It was all of us required here. Denton had to hand it off. Norbert had to light it. Grim had to miss. Clara had to crit. Perfect. She'll take that luck token. How much damage does a lit torch do? I don't know. Enough. Enough to kill a 0 health troll. Because the troll doesn't regenerate until the start of its turn. Yeah, so... good enough. Encounter success, and that counts as an XP for me. Technically, that probably should be a dangerous foe, but we kind of destroyed it, so maybe not. We're up to 18 out of 25. Not too shabby at all. Alright, now we can actually get to the house. Now, if you were smart, you might think, oh, if we follow the troll's tracks, we might find its lair down there, its cave, and it might have treasure in there. Because if I go to OSE, let's go to troll. Okay. Well, we probably don't want to fuck with that because, well, you know, Shadowdark always doing its own kind of thing. Normally, trolls in the wilderness, we'd encounter a pack of 1d8 of them. And their whole lair would have 5d8 total as part of their little faction. And then they would have treasure type D, which I think is like 3,900. Yeah, 3,900 gold pieces on average. Now, this is if you want to just follow old school rules properly. Shadowdark doesn't really adhere to that. It does its own thing, and it's a bit more modern. And you might find just a lone troll that you can then gang up on and kill. Now, if I had run that as we encountered a random patrol of trolls, we could have fought 8 of them, or found 8 of them. We would not have jumped them like that. We would have run and hid. Because, goddamn. And then to actually get their treasure, their hoard of treasure, we'd have to kill 5d8 of them. 21 trolls like that. Which you're not doing at level 2. I don't care how good you are. So that's actual proper old school Hexcrawl rules. So should I be rolling on Shadowdark random encounter tables? It's fine. I mean, but it's a different experience. I wouldn't count this. You know, this is really more like new school sort of 5e kind of stuff. But there's some encounters here that are a little bit of taste of that kind of old schoolness. If you look over all the random encounters, I mean, we could have rolled a 22 instead of an 11, and we would have encountered 3d8 orcs led by an orc chieftain at a camp near the water. So, you know, that's a pretty old school kind of thought. And a lot of these, you know, there's a fair amount of those where it's like bigger groups. So they do kind of embrace that a little bit. It's just this happened to be a solitary troll because 1d8 trolls is really rough. So if we were going to do that at this point, and my players said, oh, we should follow its tracks and go to its lair and get its treasure, I would probably put a second troll in there, like a mate, and, you know, make them more isolated than maybe they should be normally, but they're just an isolated pair. I don't know, maybe they're gay trolls and they got kicked out of the very strict conservative camp of normal trolls. I don't know. Who's to say? So they'd have to fight another troll or handle another troll, and then they would get treasure. And it wouldn't be 3,900 gold. I mean, God, no. It would be maybe a little bit of treasure that added up to like 120 gold or something. And maybe there'd be like some kind of magic trinket in there of some kind. Something fun. But yeah, I mean, I'd certainly try to reward that sort of thought, encourage that idea of, hey, let's follow this, let's go to its lair, wipe it out, get treasure. That is kind of a big aspect of the Hexcrawl. So, yeah, I would encourage that. But we're not going to do that because we're here to do the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, and let's get to this house. Stands on the cliff top, 70 feet above sea level, about 80 feet from the cliff edge. The 6-foot-high stone wall surrounding the garden is partially collapsed in a number of places, so access to any part of the garden is simple even if the main gate on the cliff road is ignored. This gate of a heavy and ornate metal construction is still functional and stands open. The garden itself is overgrown and shows no sign of any care for years. However, any part of the garden and the main earth driveway can be easily traversed. The well to the east of the rear of the house is 5 foot in diameter and 15 foot deep with 3 feet of water at the bottom and a rocky floor. A poisonous snake lives in a hole in the well side about 2 feet above the floor and will attack anyone who reaches the water level. So this is if we climb down the well. we will get attacked by a poisonous snake, which will infect us with a mild disease, causing us to feel progressively more drowsy, and after 2 to 8 turns, fall into a deep sleep for 4 to 16 turns. Cannot be awoken by normal means. Okay. I think that's unlikely, but I did run when I ran Shadowbrook Manor for my family with Shadowdark, they did climb down the well and nearly got whisked away to some other dimension. And I wish I knew now what I knew back then. And it wasn't even that long ago, but I feel like I've learned a lot more about how to run an OSR game. I did not telegraph danger or give hints or really inform them much at all. I was not a good OSR DM at that point, and I still probably am not that great, but I think, yeah, I would do a better job now. So I hope to someday maybe give them another try with Shadowdark, and maybe run it in pulp mode or something, and maybe make it a bit easier but still kind of exciting. But we'll see. Anyways, the house is 35 feet high from ground level to roof ridge. The roof is peak-pointed and gabled, with several holes for missing slates. The interior is very dilapidated, damp, and with patches of harmless mold everywhere. Cobwebs festoon the place, and the woodwork is generally rotten, while dust and dirt are thick and rubbish is scattered around in profusion. Plaster, fallen from ceilings and walls, lies on the floor in several places. Many floorboards are loose, and some are missing entirely, while there is liberal evidence of rodent and insect infestation. Many rooms have fireplaces and chimneys which show no signs of recent use. The chimneys are too narrow and twisting for anyone to climb. All house corridors are 5 feet wide and 10 feet high. All rooms are 10 feet high, except for the attic level, where because of the sloping roof, the height ranges from 1 foot at the sides to 15 feet in the center. All doors are 5 feet wide, 7 feet high, of normal wood construction. All are closed but unlocked, and easy to open. Most of the windows have panes broken and are all easy to open. The passages in the cavern complex are generally about 7 to 8 foot wide and 8 foot high, and have a marked but not precipitous downward incline. All caverns are roughly 12 foot high, all walls... Okay, you can tell this is not something I was meant to just read. This is GM information, obviously. And we're getting voices again. Get this shit out of here. Hold on. Alright. But yeah, it's general information about the, the exterior and the interior, because often players will ask, and this comes up quite often whenever I DM, is like, okay, well, how high is the ceiling here? How high are the walls? How big is this? How wide is that? So it's kind of nice to just have this information rather than me just... Yes, it is very easy to just spitball and say, but I don't want to be wrong because it might be contradicted, and that's the worst. So then I always have to try and look and see if it's there, and often it's not there, and then I have to just spitball anyways. So, I don't know, I'd rather it just be there. So, I approve. No wandering monsters will be encountered in the garden, though there will be numerous small and harmless animals, mice, voles, rabbits, and the like, nor are there any wandering monsters in the cellar, caverns, and passages below the house. In the house proper, an encounter takes place 1 chance in 12, checking every turn. 1 in 12? So that is like a half chance as normal. So if we want to follow that, basically just run the underclock every other turn, or every other time that I would normally do it. That is acceptable. Alright, the entrance hall. So we approach the house, or step through the open gate, through the disheveled, overgrown garden. Don't really see anything of note. We head up to the house, dilapidated and broken. Ominous. The front door opens onto a musty, dirty entrance hall. To your left, a corridor leads into the west wing of the house. On either side of the corridor, opening the walls, are bare, but some pieces of wood in the corner near the window indicate that a small wooden table or chair once stood there. Ahead of you, another corridor leads towards the rear of the house. To your right, a staircase climbs to the next story, reaching it at a balcony which overlooks the hall along its north and west sides. The stairs appear safe to climb, though the balcony rail is broken in several places. Under the stairs, at the rear of the hall, a third corridor leads east. Well, that is a lot of text and a lot of exits. So long as it is done before the party moves into the hall proper, a careful examination of the floor by a ranger, 10% chance of success per XP level, or a member of another character class, 5% chance of success irrespective of level, will reveal 2 paths along which there has been occasional and recent human movement. One from the foot of the stairs to the corridor towards the kitchen, the other from the foot of the stairs to the western corridor. Okay. So then, it talks about going up the stairs. I don't think we would do that yet. But we'd want to have a map. So this is the cellar. We have to go all the way down to the last section here. Okay, so here's the ground floor. So we enter here. See the stairs to our right. Corridor there to the east. Corridor to the west. Corridor north. Well, so, yeah, if you don't have a ranger on your party and you inspect the floor, you have a 1 in 20 chance, 5%, of noticing footprints on the ground in the dust. 5% That's how it was back in the day. Jeez. I mean, let's say we're all inspecting the floor. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if you count a 20 as the there you go. We got it. One of us noticed. Grim noticed what looks like human footprints from the foot of the stairs to the corridor. There's the kitchen, and then the other from the foot of the stairs to the western corridor. I guess we'll head west, because we like to go in numerical order. So we're going to go west. And Grim is leading the charge as usual. And we will listen at the first door, I suppose. The library door. Doesn't sound like there's anything in, moving or anything, so we will crack it open. We see it's a library. You can tell that this room was once a library. The bookshelves are on the walls. Most of the bookshelves are broken now, and in many places have come away from the wall altogether. Those few shelves still intact are empty, but there is a pile of books in the southwest corner. Books! There are 14 books in the pile, untidily thrown into the corner and now covered with cobwebs, vermin, droppings, and harmless mold. All have been partially spoiled by damp, mold, and mice, but are still legible. Only 3 are of any interest, the other 11 being of a routine nature. Histories, collections of romantic poems, and so forth. These 3 are clearly titled on the spine: The Magical Properties of Gemstones, The Magical Properties of Herbs and Flowers, The Metaphysics of Mathematics. These 3 books can be sold for 150 gold pieces each! Though not in Saltmarsh, the vendor will have to seek a larger community of her purchasers to be found. If the players want their characters to read the books and demand to know something of their contents, the Dungeon Master's imagination may be stretched. Okay, but see now, in today's world, we have ChatGPT. I'm going to have it come up with 2 paragraphs of an excerpt from a fantasy book titled The Magical Properties of Gemstones. If someone were to ask, if a player were to ask, okay, what's in this magical properties of gemstones? Like, what's the text say? I'm going to sit here and just read a page. Okay. You open it to somewhere in the middle. And you start reading. Chapter 3, The Resonance of Power. Few natural materials possess the enigmatic allure and potent magical resonance of gemstones. Each stone, born from the Earth's secretive alchemy, hums with energies that even the most accomplished enchanters struggle to fully comprehend. Rubies, for instance, are believed to house fragments of the sun's fire, their crimson hue acting as a conduit for courage and vitality. To carry one is to feel a flicker of defiance even in the face of despair. Conversely, sapphires resonate with the cooling wisdom of the heavens, often employed by sages and diviners to sharpen their perceptions of unseen truths. Legends tell of a sapphire large enough to contain the knowledge of an entire ancient civilization, hidden away in a forgotten temple, its secrets waiting to be unlocked by the worthy or the reckless. Oh, I like that. They include like a fucking plot hook, a treasure hook. A sapphire large enough to contain the knowledge of an entire ancient civilization hidden away in a forgotten temple. Like, oh shit, tell me more. I like, oh, okay, hey guys, this book, there might be something, you know, and then you got a whole, say, ChatGPT, man. It's DM's best friend nowadays if you're lacking creativity. So good. Right, so 150 gold pieces each. I mean, these numbers are legitimate. Would the characters know that these have that kind of value, though? Usually when you find treasure, you just tell the players, okay, you find this bracelet and it's worth 100 gold pieces, blah, blah, blah. Because, well, Axe, handles it pretty well. That every adventurer has the adventuring proficiency, which, among other things, hold on, page 105. I'm gonna tell you. Don't worry. Yeah. Okay. So every adventurer, every player character, has the adventuring proficiency by default. You know how to clean, sharpen weapons, set up a camp, cook meals over open flames, saddle and ride a horse outside of combat, and perform rough and ready first aid. He has a rough idea of the value of common coins, trade goods, gems, and jewelry, and of the nature of different types of magic and monsters. So that's just every character. They're ready, you know, that's part of their to make them adventurers and capable. They have that for whatever reason. So, common coins, trade goods, gems, and jewelry. And then of the nature of different types of magic and monsters. I don't think this would intrinsically apply. I think this would be maybe a roll to recognize the value. And I think Denton is really the only one that has a chance here. I'm going to set it... I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah. We'll just do a normal roll, and we'll make a DC 12. Okay, he definitely recognizes that these have quite a bit of value. Now, the question is that you might ask, as a player, well, why? Why are these valuable? Who wants these that they're so valuable? And why, you know... what benefit do they provide to someone? Because it specifically says here, reading the books will convey no special advantage to the characters, and most of their contents will be too obscure for comprehension. So, I think it's fair to say that these are like big, sort of deep tomes that are of like interest to, a professional alchemist, but don't contain like, specific formula or something. It's more like, yeah, obviously about like the philosophy and metaphysics of these various categories. Yeah, it's obviously a little murky as to what specific value they have, but the point is that someone will pay for this, and Denton knows it. So we probably want these. Each one's going to take up a slot, though. So, that's going to be hefty. I guess we're looking at Norbert, as usual. So, magical properties of gemstones. 150 gold. Magical properties of herbs and other things. 150 gold. And there's a cat in my way. I can't see. Okay. And then metaphysics of mathematics. Perfect. Okay. Inside the third volume can be found a sheet of parchment, obviously torn from a larger sheet, on which are a few lines of handwritten text in the common language. It has been spoiled by damp, so that only 2 words are still legible. Beyond skeletons. Alright, at this point, I will roll the underclock. Our lights are not lit because it's daylight and there are windows and everything, so we're fine there. But underclock 6, 3. We're down to 11 already. So even though it's safe, but hey, you could on your first roll normally roll a 1 on a D12. So it's all possible. Okay, then we're gonna go over and listen to the other door across the hall, number 3. And there's nothing making noise in there. This room was once a writing room or study. Against the wall under the windows is a large wooden writing desk, partially broken and riddled with damp rot. There are 3 drawers in each pedestal and a large central drawer. The latter is closed, but the others are all open. 2 obviously broken open forcibly. Well, then we want to pick that central drawer, the large one. So we'll have Norbert roll. DC 12 as usual. He got it. Contains nothing but valueless documents, all written in the common tongue. Receipts for payments on the purchase of various chemicals and laboratory equipment. A careful search of the cavity in which the central drawer fits will reveal a small secret compartment. Inside, wrapped in cloth, is a glass vial containing a watery rose-colored liquid with a spicy aroma. Potion of neutralized poison, 2 doses. Okay, let's roll. Do we find this? I'm just going to roll straight D20. Yep, that's a success. So we do find it. Do we recognize what it is? That's a whole different ball game. Yeah, again, like the old school way is that we'd have to like sip it or something and then we'd experience its effects. The new school way would be just tell them. Or roll an intelligence to see if you know. And then if you don't know, you don't know. I waffle back and forth, and obviously it would be easy for me to just say, well, we take a sip and we try and find out what it is, and obviously it's not poison, so it's all good. But I probably wouldn't do that if it was poison. So I'm kind of metagaming here. If I was DMing, let's say I was DMing for my family, I was trying to get them back into Shadowdark, I was running Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, they found this thing and they asked, well, how do we know what it does? What would I say? Well, I guess I'd say, you know, is anyone like an alchemist? Does anyone have a background in alchemy? Denton is witch-born. They burned your mother but spared you. I don't think that qualifies, but maybe you can make that argument that his mother was like a white witch and like a folk healer and stuff. So he has knowledge of various alchemical ingredients. Or, you know, herbs and remedies and stuff. I mean, you know, you could possibly make that argument to me. And if one of my family actually said anything about their background ever in relation to a role, I'd give them whatever they wanted. Because I've never heard them mention backgrounds ever. So, sure. And then, I guess I would give Denton an int roll then to just see if he knows. Otherwise, I'd probably go towards just saying, well, you know, I'd say, well, you could try sipping it a little bit which wouldn't use the vial, but it would possibly affect you in some way, and you could know from that. Or otherwise, you'd have to take it to like a professional apothecary or something like that, and they could identify it for you. I mean, potions are pretty easy, I think, in that way. Of just, yeah, find someone who knows what they're doing, and they'll tell you. Typically, unless it's really weird. But we'll give Denton a roll. DC 12. He crit! Hey! Alright! That's extra good. We'll give him his luck token. And he knows definitively exactly what this is. His mother, he recognizes the aroma from his childhood before they burned his mother at the stake. That this is neutralized poison, 2 doses of it. So, do we think that we have that as an item? Probably not, right? No, but we can whip that up pretty simply. Create item. Potion. Potion of neutralize poison. Create. I guess we'll just put... that's the easiest way to do it. How much is that worth to someone? If we're gonna go ahead and say this is something that Denton's mother made in, like, her hut as part of being a folk healer, then it's not really, like, magical. This is more just, like, apothecary stuff. Almost herbal, really. So I don't think we are counting this as extremely magical or anything. So the price is probably pretty basic, but we want to set it at a value that wouldn't be just, like, dirt cheap that anybody could just buy from a grocery store or something. So let's throw it at, for 2 doses of it, let's say 30. And, you know, Denton's mother was a rare talent. She had a lot of knowledge, which is why they burned her at the stake. So she, you know, she definitely prepared this from time to time for when those stupid hunters or whatever kids ate some poisonous berries. But that is above the threshold, so we're gonna give ourselves an XP for that. Very nice. Treasure, 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 treasure. The Shadowdark does not make any distinction about magic items, non-magic items, or whether it's a potion that you're going to use or something. It's just, yeah, if you find something of value, or, you know, you're granted something of value, even if it's not monetary value, it's worth XP. So, yeah, all good. Well, then we are continuing on to the living area here. A door in the north wall leads onto a small paved patio, the paving now cracked and overrun with weeds. There is a pile of refuse in the southeast corner. Otherwise, the room is bare. Okay, I'm going to roll underclock again. Just 1, down to 10. Secret trapdoor on the floor at S. Leads via staircase down into cellar area 21. A magic mouth spell is placed so as to be triggered by anyone coming within 5 feet of the trapdoor. A voice coming from the ceiling above will say, "Welcome, fools! Welcome to your deaths!" It's very old school, cliche, blah, blah, blah. But hey, if you were 13 years old in 1980, hot damn. That's the shit right there. Followed by a prolonged burst of insane and fiendish laughter. DM's option. Have each party member save versus spell, failure affecting them as would a fear spell. Subsequently, each character failing the original save has a 40% chance of being too frightened to re-enter the room. Yeah, obviously, this is more kitschy at anything at this point. Campy, I suppose. It would be hard. I mean, it'd be hard to say, like, oh, their characters are really frightened of this. They're going to run out of the room. Which is probably, I mean, that's probably was the case in 1980. So then it's just like, you know, you can always just say, well, your characters are really scared. Because, I mean, hey, your characters are in this situation, and they think that this is really scary and ominous, and they don't like being here because there's ghosts, supposedly, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's much different than sitting around a D&D table and laughing at your DM's insane laughter. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. That's sort of the whole thing of, like, TTRPGs are never really going to be scary in any way, because it's, you know, it's, you're not there, and there's really no visuals or anything like that. I have heard, definitely, that you know, with some horror games and things like that, and the proper atmosphere, it can be pretty unnerving. I've never really experienced that, of course. Because it's sort of like being scared by a book, and I've never been scared by a book. Or, like, you know, an SCP article or something. Like, I've never been scared. But some people do. I mean, it happens, I guess. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, some people just have different sort of disconnects or connections or something like that. You know, I remember, like, there's some SCPs. There's some really sad SCPs, right? Like, some really pretty emotional ones and stuff. Like, oh god, what is it even called? Yeah, Where the Dragons Went. That's the one. That's usually the most often cited one of being, like, the really sad, emotional SCP. And I'm pretty sure I showed that to my video to my mom once. And afterwards, I was like, wow, wasn't that really, you know, sad and stuff? And she's just like, not really. I mean, it's not real. It's like, yeah, I mean, you have a point. You have a good point. None of this happened. So, anyways. Right. So, okay. That obviously happens, though. That triggers. The voice comes out and says, welcome to your deaths, and starts insanely laughing. We could roll, like, a will save, I suppose. Like a DC 9 wisdom check. To see if anyone runs out of the room terrified. And then there's a 40% chance they won't come back into this room, which seems really easy to fuck you over. I mean, I guess. Let's see here. Norbert has no problem. Denton is too scared, shockingly. Grim is too scared. Clara is okay. So Grim and Denton, just the two, like, you'd think the harder individuals just run screaming out of the room. And then they have a 40% chance. So if I roll a 40 or under on a D100 for Denton, no, he's good. He'll come back. He's calmed down. The others are okay. He'll come back in. Grim, however, refuses to go back into the room. That seems really bad, because I think that it's a trap door going down. And we can see the tracks from the entrance hall lead to this trap door. So now we can see that there's a secret door there. Which is good to know. Someone is trying to scare us, keeping us away from this trap door, so that's interesting. Grim, however, refuses to go back into the room for now. I mean, I'm sure we'll give him another check at some point when the group's standing above the trap door and be like, come the fuck on, dude, there's nothing going on. But we will we'll back out of here for now. We'll listen to Grim and get away from it. And we'll go down the eastern corridor towards room 5. And we listen. Yes, I know I did see a pile of refuse there containing a gold earring value 20 gold. We're not going to dig through refuse. We're above that now. Just like we didn't dig in the deep one's latrine or whatever. Okay, we don't hear anything from room 5, so we'll open the door. The only thing of any note in the room is a clump of tiny red mushrooms apparently growing out of the floor all around the fireplace in a roughly semicircular formation. Otherwise, the room is bare. Now, the mushrooms are perfectly harmless, though their presence may cause any adventurer wishing to step into the fireplace to do so carefully to avoid touching them. Okay. And up the chimney, about 3 feet above the top of the fireplace, is a loose stone concealing a small cavity. Inside the cavity is a small leather pouch containing an amethyst valued at 120 gold pieces. Boy, that is... It's one of the, like I said, whenever I finish running one of these old, or, a dungeon module for my family, I always like to mention to them where they miss treasure, so they might think of that kind of stuff next time. And it's just like, oh, also, you guys didn't look up the chimney in that one room and find a loose stone with a pouch containing 120 gold piece amethyst. Sucks to be you. Let's roll the oracle, though. We'll say it's unlikely that we find, that we go to check the fireplace and stuff. Alright, so we definitely do not. That is off the table. So we just see the weird mushroom circle growing around the fireplace, and we're like, yeah, not going there. It's gonna blast us with spores or something, turn us into orcs. So listening at the next door, nothing. This room is empty. The only matter of interest is that the quantity of fallen plaster on the floor is significantly greater than elsewhere. And that's because the floor in the rooms above are considerably weaker than elsewhere. Okay. Not much to talk about here. We are going to roll the underclock again. Down to 8. It's getting there. We may yet have a random encounter here. Then over to room 7. We don't hear anything. This house is very quiet, apparently. At one time, a long table stood in the center of this room. Now it lies broken, though still recognizable on the floor. A broken chair stands against the wall between the windows, and there's a heap of broken china in the northwest corner. Boy, something really ransacked through here. Okay. We will listen at room 8. I don't think we would hear anything. Two stuffed armchairs stand near the fireplace of this room. The covers of both have been torn or cut, and the stuffing has been pulled out. However, the wooden frames are still intact. The pieces of a broken table lie on the floor near the north wall. In the chimney, about... Okay, it doesn't even... Oh, it does mention a fireplace here as well. In the chimney, about 3 feet above the top of the fireplace, is a loose stone, easily discernible. It's a very common thing. The cavity behind the stone contains a small metal box. This is locked. The key is nowhere to be found. The box contains a ring of protection +1. That would be pretty juicy, man. But a large spider lives inside the chimney and will attack anyone investigating loose stone. Alright, I think that we'll do the same oracle check of it being unlikely that we look at the fireplace. Yep, again, we're not going to bother. Shame, because that ring of protection would be pretty sweet. Wonder if that's in Shadowdark at all. It does have a collection of magic items. But they're kind of... They're mostly, like, pretty original stuff. There's not, like, adaptations of classic items, because it's pretty easy. Like, okay, what is... Let's look up the actual Ring of Protection from BX. +1 AC, +1 bonus to all saves. So we don't have saves, so I'm not quite sure how to handle that. +1 AC is pretty good though. Just that and nothing else. Just something that doesn't take up a slot and gives you +1 AC. We all wish we had that. So yeah, I would say that's pretty good on its own. I don't know if it really needs to be more than that, to be honest. I mean, you could say it provides +1 to any check to avoid harm, which is pretty vague. It's probably a bit too vague. So, I don't know. Probably just +1 AC, I think is fine. But we're not getting it, so it doesn't matter. I think we're rolling underclock again, though. Down to 7. Okay. Simple, simple. And then we're up to the kitchen. Yep, room 9 there. Corridor goes east to the outside again. Where the well of shittiness is. Alright. This was obviously the kitchen. It is dirty and damp, with patches of gray mold and a few cobwebs on the floor, walls, and ceiling. In the corner to your left is some iron cooking equipment with a chimney above. Next to it, under the window, is a cracked and discolored stone sink. To the right of the sink, a small closed wooden cupboard is fixed to the wall about 5 feet above floor level. Against the far wall, a flight of wooden stairs leads upwards from left to right. Even from the door, it is obvious that the woodwork is decayed, and a few of the treads are missing. A family of 5 giant centipedes lives in a nest under the floor below the sink, with access to the room via a hole at floor level. They will attack any character coming close to the sink or investigating the cupboard. Anyone bitten by a centipede must save versus poison, adding a bonus of +4 to the saving throw, or suffer enfeeblement for 1 to 4 days, the effects beginning 1 to 6 turns after the bite. The mold is harmless. They have to say that, because there's a lot of shitty-ass molds in old school D&D. Well, obviously, I think that we would approach. We're kind of investigating a lot of stuff. That's at least here is you got like cupboards and you got, you know, things like that. Obviously, we're gonna pop those open. So who's it gonna be? I guess let's just roll d20s, and whoever lowest rollist is the dumbass. So Norbert 5, Denton 4, Grim 15, Clara 15. Of course it's Denton who has the lowest health. Why wouldn't it be? So, but we're gonna do the surprise roll, I suppose, because that's relatively fair. Or is it? Maybe it's not. Is it? I think it's fair. It's probably fair. They're not launching arrows through the dark or something at someone's back. They are emerging, and how quickly could they possibly emerge? So I think, yeah, we'll roll surprise for us. Alright, we're not surprised, so... But Denton is up close there, and this giant centipede's just suddenly burst out of the cupboard and the sink and stuff. So they are AC 9, and this is descending, I'm pretty sure. So that would be 10 AC. And they have 1 HP. They don't do any damage, but they inflict that poison. So we want to be pretty quick to clean them up, because we don't want to get enfeebled. So now, yeah, we have to roll initiative. We got an 8, they got a 14. Simple as that, man. Simple as that. So Denton is pretty fucked. I think he's going to be enfeebled out the ass. We do have giant centipede stats for Shadowdark, but I think they're a little bit more lethal. What are they under? Centipede Giant? Is that what they are? Centipede Giant. 11 AC, 4 HP, 1d4 damage, and poison. Definitely a much harsher encounter. We will run this as the module does. So we're going to give them all +0 on their attack. They need to roll a 13 or higher. There's 5 of them. I'll roll 5d20. One of them crit, another one hit normally. Crit doesn't really matter because they don't have any damage. You could say automatically fails the save, but that's pretty cruel. So this is going to be a con save, DC 12, and he's going to have to make it twice with -1. Succeeded the first one, failed the second one. Yep. So in 1d6 turns, he'll suffer enfeeblement for 1d4 days. Okay, let's find enfeeblement real quick. Ray of enfeeblement? That's not correct. Blah, blah, blah. Strength and effect of all attacks which are dependent on strength are reduced by 25%. The amount of reduction is increased by 1%. Yeah, okay, yeah. So basically, his strength would be sapped by 25%. We don't really have to, we don't really have to calculate that, I guess. You could just lower strength by 1d6. But that could be 1, and that's not really the intention. 25% would be, rounding down, 3. It's not really that bad, to be honest. It's kind of minor. And so he has +0 strength instead of +1. Although it does affect his fucking carrying capacity. So he'd have to give up this stupid torch and flint and steel. Well, it happened, so deal with it. Before it kicks in, though, and it's our turn, he's going to counter with his longsword right now. 13. That's a kill, because anything's a kill as long as you hit. And as long as you hit AC 10. Grim will step in and gore one. Oh, blade trauma. Blade trauma on your ass. Yeah, 9. Yeah. Bleeding out. He's going to lose 2d6 HP. Perfect. They cut it in half. Clara will... yeah, she'll just shoot her crossbow, I guess. Missing, obviously. And Norbert will swing in with a short sword. 1 damage, that's all you need. Basically just stepping on these things, really. Okay, so we killed 2 of them. 3 of them. We killed 3 of them. New initiative. We got a 10, they got a 13. They're going again. This is probably where they make a morale check, though. So they fail, and they're going to scuttle back under the cupboard. Encounter over. I'm not listing that as a significant fight, because we could not die. That is not a fight that we could die. So, not significant. But, you know, poor Denton is going to be enfeebled. Feels it coursing through his bloodstream. Look at this crazy-ass artwork, man. Well, look at this attack. Look at this spell attack, where she's just like, under the armpit, magic missile. Okay. This is how they envision themselves. I guess, man. Who am I to say? So we didn't find anything. There's no loot. Even if we go check the cupboard then, and we see the hole under the sink and stuff. There's a centipede scuttling into. Nothing to really do. But there's one more room here in 10. So we'll pop into there. This room has suffered the effects of damp and decay more than most in the house. Mold grows in patches on the floor, walls, and ceilings. There are many cobwebs, though even these appear to be decaying. A large copper boiler, dented, split, discolored, and empty, stands under the window. A small heap of crockery shards is on the floor beside it. Stairs lead down into the darkness of what is presumably a cellar. Okay, so there's a magic mouse spell cast on the stairs. Will be triggered when anyone treads on the top step. I think we're rolling another... Okay, we're down to 2. So, encounter is imminent. Do we want to barricade ourselves or something? We're back in a place with doors, so we could barricade. Alright, fuck it. We'll spike the door. And then we'll prep at the top of the steps. Which I guess is going to trigger this magic mouth to start screaming. Yeah, hideous screams as if a soul in torment will rise from the cellar area below. Which we'll just assume is like the random encounter coming. You could treat it as a fear spell, but we're resolute now. We're together. We've bolted the... we've spiked the door. Clara has her crossbow ready. Denton will throw a hand axe at anything coming up the stairs. We're ready to rock. Torsen is standing in the back corner, hoping nothing terrible happens. And we're going to wait out the underclock. Yep. Alright, back to 20. And it's a D4 encounter. So we got 3. Which is a giant weasel. A vicious creature which will attack in all circumstances. On the melee round, after it successfully bites a victim, it does not release its jaws, but instead sucks blood at the rate of 2 to 12 hit points of damage each round. The creature's pelt is worth 2,000 gold pieces. What the fuck? That is an insane value. But you'd have to be a group that would be like, oh, what do we think this thing's pelt is worth? I've never played. Okay, yeah, I really would love to actually play in a game like this and just start thinking of nothing but like monetary value and stuff. But yeah, certainly no one I've ever DM'd this kind of stuff for has had that mentality of like, oh, this thing's pelt might be worth thousands of gold. Now it doesn't even give... Oh yeah, it does give stats. So it has an AC of 13, 20 hit points, does 2d6 damage, and then latches on for an automatic 2d6 every round. And this thing is going to come charging up the steps from the cellar towards us. Desperate for blood. We even see blood stained around its jaws. Good God, it's terrifying. But we were ready for it. So before we roll initiative, I'm gonna get off my crossbow shot and the hand axe throw, and then we'll roll. So 13 AC. That's a hit for 4 damage. Not gonna slow it down much, but at least it's at 16. And the hand axe, 20. Nice, for 1 damage. Shame it wasn't a crit. But it was a 19. Trauma, blade trauma. Here we go. This is actual blade trauma being inflicted. And it's a 1. Of course it is. Pinned. The attacker may pin the target to a nearby surface. Breaking free requires a strength check or contest, no action. Alright, I mean, it's pretty good, to be honest. So his hand axe, I mean, it did barely any damage. It mostly caught fur, I guess, but it kind of pinned him to the staircase by his fur. So he's going to have to spend, you know, it sort of arrested his movement a little bit, and he's going to have to break free. I probably would almost guarantee it. I don't think it'll really hold him for any amount of time, but I think it's going to take his action. Alright, initiative. We get a 20. And he gets a 16. We go first. Well, we're going to crossbow him again. Miss. And Norbert will throw his silver dagger at it. Hit for 4 damage. So it's 9 health down. It's at 11. Not quite a morale check, but Grim is going to ready his black silver for when it comes within range. And then on its turn, it's going to break free from the hand axe and then charge forward with his move. And then as soon as he does, Grim's going to stab him in the face. Yep, 8 damage. So he's down to 3 now. and then new initiative. We get an 8, he gets a 3. We go again, Grim's gonna finish the job. Yep, dead. Easy, man. Easy. So it raises a good question. Is the underclock just an easier system for players? Like, is it a casualified system compared to actual random encounters that can occur at any moment? I think so. I mean, I think it is. But is it a worse system? Is it a less fun system? No, I don't believe so. I think this allows players to have more agency. Because, you know, surprising players and ambushing players is not really ever going to be that fun for players. It can still happen with the underclock, just much more rarely. And, yeah, like, obviously, if you want to have the underclock and still challenge them, then, you know, beef up your random encounters. Or don't even roll for a random one, just pick one that you think would be more challenging to them or something. That's not really what the DM is meant to do, but you could. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the underclock quite a bit, and that's how I would probably do things going forward, solo or DMing for other people, because I just think it's a good system. Because I like giving players more agency than taking it away. And, I mean, I still do random encounters when they're in the wilderness and stuff. So, I mean, it happens there. But, yeah, okay. Well, that's probably worth an XP. So we're going to go to 20, which is not a level up. We're following our Gosa XP numbers. Because we're following our Gosa XP values of granting XP. So we still need 5 more XP to level up. Would we recognize that this pelt is worth a shit ton of money? Not unless we were like a hunter or something, and I don't think any of us are anything like that. Torsen's a livestock farmer. That's still not gonna cut it. So no, I just don't think so. I could give it an oracle roll, but I don't know. It seems very unlikely, like double disadvantage or something. All right, good. Well, it doesn't matter. We are not aware of the value of this thing. But hey, let that be a lesson to you if you're ever playing an OSR game. Plenty of animals will have some pretty valuable pelts or parts or things like that. And it really, I mean, even if it's not listed in the DM, in their module, or in their book or something, doesn't hurt to harvest a lot of shit. It's just a lot of stuff to carry, and it's kind of messy and takes time and blah, blah, blah. I would absolutely say it's an underclock roll if we sat here and carved out this thing's pelt. I don't know how big a giant weasel is meant to be. According to this, the Forgotten Realms wiki, dire weasels had bodies up to 10 feet long and could weigh up to 700 pounds. So this thing was like a fucking 10 feet long, 700 pound. It's like a truck coming up those stairs. Terrifying, man. I guess in that case, yeah, I could see, but I think it would take a lot longer than 10 minutes then to actually get this pelt properly. Probably 700 pounds. Jesus. That is a team lift operation if we wanted to carry the corpse to like a better location. We would need maybe all 5 of us if that's enough, but I don't know. Maybe 5 of us could do it with a lot of strain. How much does like a couch weigh? How much does an average couch weigh? Okay, that only weighs like 300 pounds. so this is like twice. This is like a couch with a fat guy laying on it that you have to carry. Like, Jesus. Okay, yeah, there's probably more than 5 people here, but I don't know. But yeah, to actually skin this thing would take like an hour. I bet Axe has rules. I bet Axe has rules for how long it would take to skin this thing, but I'm not going to waste time trying to look. But I'd probably say at least an hour. So if you're going to do it in here, that's going to be a good number of underclocks. But we're going to skip it. So we could go down there, but there was this giant awful weasel that came sprinting up the stairs. So maybe we'll save that and instead go upstairs from the main hall. Up to this walkway. And I'm going to go out of numerical order, because I feel like it makes the most sense for us to go to this door on the right immediately. So we're going to listen at door number 13. I don't think we would hear anything. This bedroom is dirty and decayed. The floorboards appear intact, but rubbish is scattered everywhere, and webs are profuse on the walls and ceiling. From the doorway, you can see a glint of light in the fireplace from what appears to be a small, highly reflective object. There is no furniture in here. Okay, so we open into a bedroom. It's a dirty, decayed room. It's covered in webs on the walls and ceiling. Like giant-ass webs. And then from the fireplace, we can just see a glint sort of in the shadows. And we're not quite sure, but something is reflecting light in the fireplace. Now it says that in the webs live 2 large spiders. How large do we think these are? Because based on the image right there, how would we not see these things? Those things are not large. Those are gigantic. Like, they're the size of, like, the man's torso and stuff. Like, they're huge. It's like a giant spider. So I don't know how we would not notice them. Unless the webs are, like, really dense and there's a lot of shadows in the corners and darkness. I guess that's probably how I would describe it. We could, yeah, so this is why it's nice to have just, like, a little fire spell or something to just light webs on fire from a distance. Honestly, I could see just closing the door, because this seems like a no-win scenario of avoiding... I mean, obviously, we assume that there's going to be live spiders in there. These webs are not decayed like the other webs we saw. But if I really wanted to get, like, I was like, damn, I know there's some insane treasure in the fireplace, which there isn't, by the way. It's a fist-sized chunk of useless crystal. It has no value, though it is superficially attractive. I don't know, like practically all crystals? Isn't that the point of crystals? What is the purpose of, like, an emerald? It's superficially attractive. It seems so weird. Like, what is the point of a gemstone? I mean, maybe, you know, I think maybe it's like a magical reagent, like a gemstone, like a sapphire or something like that. You know, it's a fantasy world, so I guess. But you're telling me you have a fist-sized chunk of crystal, and just because it's attractive and it's pretty to look at, it has no value? Not even the lowest of peasant will give me a copper for this damn thing? Like, it's nuts, man. I don't want to rewrite modules or anything, or change things here, but if I was going to run this, yeah, I feel like I would change it. Not even because it's a dangerous room that has no treasure and it's just a false red herring kind of thing. But just the fact that it pisses me off that you have a attractive, pretty to look at crystal the size of a fist, and it just has no value. Outrageous. But anyways, let's say that I really desperately knew that there was treasure there and I wanted to get it. What would be the smartest way to do it? Again, I think you just have to assume, and I think practically every player would. You have a room filled with webs. You're gonna just assume that there's spiders in there. So what's the answer? I mean, it would be pretty easy to light the torch and just lean in and light the webs on fire. That would probably be pretty easy, but it's not really a solution. It would probably prevent an ambush, but we'd still... I mean, the spiders would then come charging out or something like that. But with doorway strats, as usual, it's not the end of the world, although I'd be pretty concerned. I feel like spiders... in doorway strats, they're gonna climb over you. Like, guarantee. I would have to rule it that way. The spiders are gonna climb over you. They're gonna try to swarm over your shield and get on top of you. So, because I think it said that you can get... there's like a dex check or something to move through an enemy. I don't remember where it said that in Shadowdark, but I'm pretty certain. You must pass a strength or dex check to move through enemies. So yeah, I think these spiders would try to do that to get like behind Grim and get to the juicy unarmored targets in the back. So doorway strat, probably not the ultimate solution, but it is still better than just walking into the room. The other solution would be Denton just stands in the doorway and casts sleep. And that would fill the whole room with sleep. Anything in there would be asleep unless it's higher than level 2. It's probably the best solution. I worry about losing sleep. Haha. But we have a luck token, and honestly, if we did lose it, we can always just come back. There's no time pressure to this adventure. It's just like, we're checking out the haunted house today. We can come back in a year from now or something. So yeah, fuck it. We're gonna stand in the doorway and Denton's gonna cast sleep. Fail. Okay, well, that's what luck tokens are for, right? Fail. Fuck. I hate to take Clara's because it's pretty valuable, but sleep is so good. Alright, fine. This is probably a mistake. But there you go. Like, it would cast regardless. I just want to cast it more than once. So, okay, we cast it. And I don't think anything would happen. Like, they're sort of nestled in their webs. They just fall asleep. They're not going to fall out of the webs or anything, so it's just like, okay, you cast it. You know? You don't notice anything unusual. That, you know, nothing has changed. You don't hear anything. At that point, I don't think that we would, like, start swinging at the webs or anything, or light them on fire, because that would wake them up. That would defeat the whole purpose. All we cared about was getting to the treasures, so I think Norbert will sort of sneak in and, assume that he's not going to get attacked by anything horrible, and he's going to go and grab whatever's in the fireplace, which turns out to be a fist-sized chunk of crystal that is superficially attractive and has no value. Yeah, I can't in good conscience allow that. It just offends my soul a little bit too much. So, let's find a value for this. I mean, let's not make it insane, but... Actually, hold on. Let me search Shadowdark for crystals. See if it's on any of the treasure tables. Please wait. Please wait. Please wait. There's a green crystal statuette of Memnon. Wait a minute, you're telling me this is a crystal statuette that is superficially attractive and it's worth 50 gold? What? But what? It has what? How can it have value? It's just pretty to look at? This doesn't make any sense. Luxury item, crystal. Although it's an actual, like, ring or something. But still, it's superficially attractive. I'm setting this thing at 40 gold. And I feel like that's lowballing it because it's the size of a fist. But, because if it was a sapphire the size of a fist, I mean, come on. That would be worth crazy amounts, right? So I'm lowballing it, but this is in defiance of this nonsense. So we need to add, I guess Norbert will take it, treasure. Because it is treasure, alright? Fist-sized crystal. 40. And everybody gets an XP for that. Technically, if the spiders were a significant fight, that would also be an XP. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I feel like they might be. They'd have 7 HP each. They'd have an AC of 11. It would do 1 damage. So it could kill... I mean, not really. But the poison... So you'd have to save versus poison at +2. And if you fail, you become incapacitated and completely helpless for 1d6 hours. I feel like that is a fight that could threaten to kill the group, but it's kind of right on the border because they're pretty weak otherwise, but I don't know, do I want to throw an XP out for that? I guess I will, just because they cleverly avoided the fight entirely, so we'll go to 22. I'm being generous today, in defiance of that superficially attractive crystal chunk. Okay. Good, and then Norbert hastily steps out of the room when they close the door. Those spiders can have a nice snooze for forever, actually. We technically did kill those spiders, because they will never wake up, and they'll eventually starve to death or whatever, and we win. So get fucked. Then next room is 14. Nothing to be heard in there. Another dirty, decayed bedroom without furniture. From the doorway, the floor in here does not look particularly safe. Some floorboards are missing, while others appear to have suffered partial collapse. The safe area is a 3 to 5 foot wide strip from the door down the west wall and across to the window. Adventurers may stand in this area without danger, but anyone moving into another part of the room may... 60% base chance for a light character, increase incrementally to 100% chance for a very heavy character, precipitate a collapse of the floor, the character falling into room 6 below and taking normal falling damage. Refer to Dungeon Master Guide, page 102 for determination of character weight. Yes. I suppose you could do that, couldn't you? If the party has been able to follow the tracks leading upstairs from the entrance hall, room 1, they will be found to lead into this room around the safe area and to the window. A combination of the position of the house and the topography of the cliff results in this room providing the best view of the sea from any part of the house, and it is from here that the smugglers signal to their colleagues out at sea. Careful examination of the window area will give small clues to this fact. Fresh scratches on the sill where the lanterns have been placed, scuffing of the floor dust immediately by the window, and so forth. However, these signs cannot be seen from the door. They require close observation for discovery. Well, I mean, we did notice the footprints, so I guess we have kind of been following those. So we would see that it travels in an odd path around the room, along the wall and stuff. But, I mean, there's nothing really in here, so what do you want me to really say about it? We will roll underclock, though. 6, 3, alright, we're down to 11 already. I feel like that happens a lot. Keeps it exciting. And then the last one on this corridor, 15. Would we hear anything? Well, there's a guy in here, but he's bound and gagged. And he probably hears our creaking footsteps. So I'd have to determine if he would make noise or be silent. Yes, from the sound of it, he would make some noise. So he would kind of like, you know, you know. Okay, well, it sounds like someone's in there, and they possibly are gagged. We might speak through the door or something. Yeah, and like ask, you know, who's in there, and then we get just a gagged response. Well, you know, and then ask like if he's alone in there. Like, I guess we'd open. Oh, but it's locked. Lock is a normal one. Key can be found quite easily on the sill of the window at the eastern end of the corridor. Oh, okay. Well, that's handy. The key turns very smoothly, and an alert party may deduce that the lock has been oiled recently. Curious. That would be a pretty alert party, I must say. This is a dirty, decayed bedroom, and the floor looks rather unsafe. The safe area in here is a 4-foot strip from the door to the east wall and along that wall to the front of the house. Shit, man. Now here we don't have footprints, apparently. So, how would we determine that it's where the safe area is? So the DM obviously has this nice map to show. And I guess he's like over here or something. Well, we know that the footprints were in the other room, right? And they went around. I don't know. Would you really not be able to tell where the floor looks like it's going to collapse or not? Seems kind of wild. In the far corner lies a man. He is obviously alive, though bound and gagged. He is clad only in undergarments and appears to have no weapons or equipment. Okay, and we see this nice image of Ned. Ned Shakeshaft. He's a 3rd-level assassin, though he will announce himself as a 2nd-level thief if questioned. No, you can't say stuff like that. Heresy. You can't announce that you're a 2nd-level thief. Doesn't make any sense. Ned has been planted here at short notice by a prominent merchant in Saltmarsh who is secretly a receiver of the smuggler's contraband. Ned's task is simply to do his utmost to prevent the party from learning about the smuggling operation, and generally so to weaken the party by promoting dissent, causing accidents while not appearing to do so, and so forth, as to lead them to abandon their mission. However, his fear for his own skin is such that he will not attempt an assassination, except in the last resort, and in circumstances which give him an excellent chance of escaping and or avoiding detection. Unfortunately for the merchant, he does not know how to contact the smugglers at short notice. San Belay, the smugglers' leader, always initiates their infrequent meetings and never arranges for them to take place in the house. Thus, the merchant knows the smuggler's base is somewhere in the house, but has never been able to find it. Planting the assassin in one of the upstairs rooms was the best plan he could conceive at short notice. Ned's story is simply that he is a thief from Seaton, who entered the house under cover of darkness the previous night to find a place to sleep during his journey to Saltmarsh, where he had heard there was possible work for adventurers. He entered through the back door and had only reached the kitchen when he was attacked from behind, overcome, and knocked unconscious. He awoke some hours ago, bound, gagged, and stripped of his possessions in this room. He did not see his attackers, nor, until the party came along, had he heard any sounds in the house. Now he would like to be released and to join the party in their adventure. Neither Ned nor his merchant mentor are fools, and they will have given some rapid thought to preparing this story. It will not be possible for the party to unmask Ned simply. Indeed, to add verisimilitude to the story, Ned will have a lump on the back of his head, inflicted with some sadistic delight by the merchant. An alert party may, however, realize fairly soon that Ned is not what he appears to be. For one thing, he cannot speak. Thieves can't. He will have to say that the blow on his head has temporarily destroyed his memory of the language. Again, his hasty preparations have led the merchant to overlook the fact that Ned's imprisonment will actually draw the party's attention to the probable presence of other people in the house, whereas they might otherwise have found no clue to the smugglers at all. The DM must play Ned carefully. Obvious attempts to sow discord or to lead the party into unnecessary danger will give the game away quickly. On the other hand, Ned's instructions are clear, and the more the party make deductions about the presence of the smugglers, the greater will be Ned's efforts to prevent them. If, in the final analysis, discovery of the smugglers is inevitable, have Ned attempt to assassinate a party member and make good his escape. Before leaving the room, Ned will ask for the loan of clothing and a dagger from the party. As soon as he has the dagger, he will exchange it for an envenomed dagger he has hidden in the fireplace. If he cannot borrow a dagger, he will retrieve the envenomed blade in any case and do his best to conceal it about his person. Well, what the fuck do we do about Ned as a solo player here? I find players to be in general highly suspicious of anyone and everyone. So I don't think really they would be just their first thought of like, oh, this poor thief. This poor second level thief. We must help him because he is a good adventurer like us. I could see a lot of party members leaving him here. I could see some party players just slitting his throat. It would certainly involve either, likely an extensive amount of questioning to his story. But he doesn't really know much, based on his story, at least, He was attacked from behind, which should give them the indication that, okay, we're definitely dealing with humans here, not ghosts. A far more evil threat. What do we do? I feel like I have to go to the Oracle for this to kind of decide for me. Well, let's go with, do we believe his story, first of all, and we'll make this unlikely. Okay, so we don't really believe his story. Not entirely. Maybe we have different, maybe you have one party member that's like, I don't know, it's possible. He's got the bump on his head and stuff. And, why would he be tied up here? Blah, blah, blah. These questions, there's always somebody bringing up these things. Like, why would he be tied up here then? Like, he didn't tie up himself. And then you have another person that's like, well, the evil men that live here, left him here on purpose. He's going to stab us in the back as soon as we turn. Which is generally true, and the DM just sits there and But the majority of our party does not really believe his story and doesn't really like the cut of his jib. But we're not really just going to leave him here, because that's not in our general interest. So we could just let him loose and then, tell him to go back to town and we'll finish up here. And then it would be pretty interesting to see what he has to say about that, because he doesn't... That was supposed to be his entire thing. Like, his story is that he just stopped in here for the night on his way to Saltmarsh, because he heard there's work for adventurers. And, yeah, technically, yeah, we are doing adventurers' work, but that doesn't mean we want you in our group. So, you're not welcome in our group, sort of thing. So I'm just picturing the scenario here where we let him loose, And we keep a close eye on him, and we're like, okay, you know, we you know, we don't have any spare clothes, because why would we have spare clothes? But we'll give him 2 gold pieces, you know, to sort of you know, get himself fixed up in town and stuff. We'll be nice. We'll be nice. We'll give him 2 gold, because I'm a nice guy, and we'll escort him out of the house, and we'll make sure that he's heading off towards town, because we don't really trust him. We don't really trust him, but we're not murderers, and we're not just gonna kill him, and we're not just gonna leave him here where he could starve to death or anything. So we'll make sure he gets on his way, and we'll give him a little money to go. So, you know, it's like, what the fuck is that guy gonna do then? What the fuck is he gonna do? Obviously, I guess he could double back, but at that point, his only course of action is probably to assassinate someone. Because if he shows back up or something, we're not going to trust him at all. And he doesn't have any clothes or anything. And we're watching him very carefully. Like, we're going to untie him and then escort him out of the room. And he'll ask for maybe, like, clothing and a dagger to defend himself and stuff, but we're not giving it to him. And it says if he cannot borrow a dagger, he'll retrieve the envenomed blade in any case and do his best to conceal it about his person. We're not letting him near the fireplace. We're keeping a pretty close eye on him. Now, you say this might all be kind of metagaming because I obviously know his story here, but I think plenty of players will just leave him there, or will just kill him or something like that. I think a very small percentage will just believe him and be like, all right, yeah, here's a dagger, Ned. Come with us. Now, in my experience, that's not almost ever going to happen. Maybe in 1980 that happened, but not these days. The world has become a much crueler place, and we've become accustomed to it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's not gonna get his dagger. He's not gonna have any clothes, and we're gonna like make sure he heads out of the house and out towards town. So his only option then would be to either like just say, all right, fuck it. I guess they were too smart. Or to sneak back into the house, go upstairs, get his dagger, and then try and assassinate one of us. I guess. So Ned is just an assassin for hire. He's not associated with the smugglers, and he's just been hired by this merchant who is an associate of the smugglers. So Ned doesn't know anything, and the merchant doesn't even know where these smugglers are based out of, other than like somewhere in this house or something to do with the house. So Ned definitely doesn't know shit. He's just been hired to prevent them from learning about the smuggling operation. So I don't know. I guess it depends on like how determined is Ned exactly to do this. That is a shitty position for an assassin, to have to go in with no clothes. Where are his clothes? If we were really to hammer this down, I assume the merchant took it. Right? So, yeah, you're hired assassin, and he's like, okay, well, I guess I could try assassinating him, but you're going up against 4 of them. And I guess he could assassinate one and then run away and then try and assassinate another, but like, how good does Ned think he is? And yeah, how determined is he to really follow through on this job, other than just going back and admitting that he failed and they were a bit too suspicious of him? It didn't work out. Sorry. I don't know. You got 2 gold out of it, and I'm going to deduct 2 gold because this is exactly what happens, and I'm just not quite sure what happens from there. So Let's roll an oracle again of is Ned determined enough to continue the job at that point, and we'll make this unlikely. Okay, he is actually. He doesn't like leaving a job unfinished, and he doesn't like that we sort of outsmarted him for the moment. So he is going to attempt to double back once he thinks we're no longer watching. We go back in the house and stuff. He's going to double back and try and sneak back to the upstairs to grab his envenomed blade. Okay. I think that, hold on. 2, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. I think that's a good stopping point for now. So far, it's been pretty easy. It's been kind of a lot of empty rooms and atmosphere and stuff, and trying to figure out what's going on with this house. We haven't seen any ghosts. Blah, blah, blah. But that giant weasel, that was certainly unnerving. Luckily, we killed it without too much trouble. So yeah, it's been pretty good. So, oh, I think I missed some text when I went up the stairs. Yes, the stairs creak ominously as you ascend, but they are safe enough. At the top, you reach the gallery, which is on the north and west walls of the hall. To the east and west, the corridor appears to stretch the full width of the house, doors leading off it to the south. Opposite the western portion of the gallery is another corridor leading north. The stairs will not collapse under the party's weight, but at a point on the gallery 10 foot to the west of the head of the stairs, the floorboards are so rotten that they will collapse if any party member steps on them, leaving a gap stretching from the wall clear to the gallery edge and 7 feet across. Okay, so we will have to remember that, but it is indicated on the map, so it's fine. But yeah, we'll end it off there, and we may uncover the sinister secret of Saltmarsh next time. Might be too much for us to handle, but yeah, we've read a very small part of the adventure. We're on page 9 of 27 here. So, all right, good stuff. For now, then, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging with Shadowdark, and I'll see you fine folks in the next part.